Welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to dive into a really fascinating 31-year spanning philosophical reflection. We are actively challenging a deeply ingrained piece of conventional wisdom, stuff you've probably heard in some form or another your entire life. Okay, let's just jump right in and see how an ancient idea holds up to decades of real-world scrutiny.
So, there's this famous ancient proverb from the Jewish sages, "Be a tail to lions rather than a head to foxes." We basically all grew up hearing this, right? Or at least some variation of it. It teaches a very specific lesson about humility and who you associate with. The idea is that it's inherently better to stay safely behind the powerful, the great, the wise, rather than trying to lead those who are, well, lowly or foolish. And honestly, it sounds like incredibly solid advice at first glance.
But I want you to pause for a second and really ask yourself, is this actually always true? I mean, does fleeing from the foxes and permanently hiding out in the safe shadow of the lions always serve us? Well, our source authors started asking this exact question way back in 1995, actually daring to challenge an axiom that had literally been passed down from generation to generation without a second thought.
Section 1. The 2 chapters of human life. Breaking down the convention.
To really answer that lingering question, our source author illustrates that our lives are actually split into 2 very distinct chapters. Chapter 1, well, that's all about youth. It's the beginning of your path, a time for just soaking up knowledge and values like a sponge. But then we have Chapter 2. This is adulthood. This is the exact moment you've got to stand on your own 2 feet, start taking command, and step fully into your own unique identity.
So the really crucial point here is that during your early years in Chapter 1, the proverb hits the nail on the head. This is the phase of youth where you absolutely must absorb strong, healthy foundations by learning from the absolute best. You need to nurse from the lions to build a rock-solid base. It makes perfect sense, right? You seek out those who are greater than you, and you just learn everything you possibly can.
Section 2. The danger of the comfort zone. The illusion of safety.
But here's the catch. As we move into Chapter 2 of our lives, staying in the lion's tail actually transforms. It goes from a really smart learning strategy into a highly dangerous trap. It feels incredibly safe and comfortable, doesn't it? I mean, there are no surprises in life, there are no heavy responsibilities to shoulder, and best of all, others do literally all the thinking for you. You just let the lions do the heavy lifting. But the source material argues this is actually an act of severe self-diminishment. By doing this, you are actively avoiding the vital, necessary struggle of forming your own inner voice.
And here is the stark consequence of staying in that cozy little shadow. The author warns of a terrifying and, frankly, kind of comical reality. One day you wake up with a shrunken brain. Seriously. By letting others lead indefinitely, you just stop growing. You stagnate. And you completely surrender your own potential.
Section 3. The courage to lead foxes. Reimagining the fox's den.
So, what exactly is the alternative here? Well, instead of avoiding the foxes, stepping right into their den actually offers some really surprising benefits. Surrounding yourself with foxes forces you to survive. It entirely prevents that stagnation we just talked about. It builds incredible alertness, mental sharpness, and this absolutely vital ability to improvise. It forces you to think for yourself and stops you from just freezing in place, mostly because you can't rely on the lions to protect you anymore. Now, this requires a total redefinition of the proverb. Being the head to foxes is not about an ego trip. It's not about seeking some kind of hierarchical dominance or joining them in their folly. It's actually entirely about taking the steering wheel of your own life. It's an internal stance, this willingness to take responsibility, risk making a few mistakes, and ultimately, to elevate the people around you.
Section 4. From defect to mission. The 2026 twist.
Let's jump ahead to 2026 and see how this all builds. Back in 1995, the axiom is boldly questioned. Then, after 31 years of actually testing this philosophy out in the real world, the author looks back and confirms a really profound truth. He was right. If you don't take the reins and lead, you simply wither away in your comfort zone. True growth absolutely, without a doubt, requires stepping up and leading.
Section 5. The law of nature. Grow or wither.
And this isn't just human philosophy. It's completely grounded in the harsh yet incredibly beautiful laws of the natural world. Think about it. First, cubs safely nurse from their mother. They are the ultimate tails, getting their strong foundation. But as adolescents, they have to step out into a dangerous, unpredictable world. No animal stays a tail voluntarily. And finally, as adults, they use that very foundation they receive to lead. They transition from tail to head, out of pure evolutionary necessity.
And this brings us to our ultimate eureka twist. Listen to this quote. Not everyone who isn't a lion is doomed to remain a fox. This is the crux of the entire explainer right here. We aren't abandoning the lions out of disrespect. Rather, we're intentionally descending to the foxes to elevate them. We take those solid foundations we learned as a tail, and we use them as a head to actually transform the foxes around us into lions. How amazing is that?
So, the final question you really have to ask yourself as you navigate your own life is this. Will you choose the fading comfort, the comfortable decay of remaining the tail, or will you grab the steering wheel and choose the courageous responsibility of being the head? Just think about where you are in your life right now. Are you ready to step out of the shadow? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this helps you look at your own journey in a whole new light.